Oh boy, I'm excited.
Snow falling up.
Yeah.
Is what I have to say.
Yes. If you're in the chat, go crazy. You know what? Yeah.
Put a W in the chat for snow falling
Put
up.
a W in the chat. Oh God. Oh yeah, here we are. Great. Hey everyone, welcome to Out of an Abundance of Caution. It's week 34 of this show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Peter Mills-Weiss. This is
Julia Mounsey.
incredible. And we're here to host the dang show. We've got an amazing show for you. Oh, we should just say what this is if you're turning in for the first time. This is Out of an Abundance of Caution. It's an avant-garde microfestival live online of quick and dirty, fascinating work responding to and from the places and people with whom we select to shelter on a wildly inclusive and non-hierarchical platform, which is extremely chill, and this is an extremely chill vibe. So who's in the freaking chat tonight? Who's in the chat? Represent yourself in the chat with a, what should they put in the chat?
With kind of like one adjective to describe how you feel right now.
Yeah, put an adjective in the chat describing how you feel. I think the adjective that I would put is like empty.
I was gonna say empty.
Oh, okay. So we're both feeling empty. Adjectives in the chat, yes, thank you.
I would say kind of like the word placid comes to mind, but placid kind of implies what's up, it's Kate's McGee. Kate's McGee.
It's me, Kate McGee, I think is what it says.
Hopeful. Mama Mills says hopeful.
For sure.
Veltkamp says freaking out, man.
Freaking out, yeah.
Kate Ziblik says vibing. Get small.
It's me, get small and get big. Someone wants us to get small and big, we'll get big. Yeah, if you ever want us to get big or small or big or little, just put big or little in the chat. We love to get big and small.
It's a game we call, what do we call it? Bigs and littles.
Bigs and littles. So if you want us to get big, put a big in the chat. If you want us to get little, put a little in the chat. I think we just got small, and then we got big.
Mm-hmm.
Also now my webcam's like completely out of focus, but that's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal. But anyway, should we start with the first act of the show? Can everyone put like a 1 in the chat if they want the first act to come on?
1 for the first act, please.
Yeah.
If you don't want the first act to come on,
we're never gonna stop just kind of weirdly vibing with the chat and not doing much. And like all the art that's been made for this beautiful show will go to waste.
Yeah, and it'll just be this.
It'll just be this, like 2 people you don't know just kind of like chatting at you. You'll be like, that's so cool. Real little, okay.
Oh!
All right. We got all the ones in the
that.
chat, so we're gonna introduce our next
our
first, not our next, you're right. Our first act of the night, this is going to be some poetry from CRISTINA Pitter. CRISTINA is a queer Afro-Latinx fat babe artist who wants to burn it down and plant new seeds with lessons from history. Please, if you, not if you like, just even if just if you're alive, please follow CRISTINA at La Vida Brujeria and tip CRISTINA at http://paypal.me/out of caution. Okay.
You can tip any one of our performers at paypal.me/out of caution.
Correct. But I was on a train there, and can we start CRISTINA's poetry, please?
Hey, beautiful people. My name is CRISTINA Pitter, and I'll be sharing a piece of poetry today. I thought a lot more poetry was going to be shared today, but nothing felt adequate in the midst of the events of this past week, both nationally and globally. And yeah, some new things came bursting out instead. And I hope that it resonates with you. I hope that it inspires you. And I hope that you are all filling your cup, releasing the fuckery that no longer serves, and stoking that flame. Oh, that fire in the blood that keeps us pumping, that keeps us going. Yeah, everyone breathe with me for a moment. I know this is a video, but you can breathe with me. Nice deep inhale and release. And another inhale and release. One more for me. Inhale and release. Ooh. This piece is called Can It All Fall? The mood is all falls down, surround sound, coasting down a battered parkway, emblazoned fools with dull tools, waving flags of moronic supremacy that will, you hate to see it, continue to exist beyond this minuscule exhale of bliss. The new president-elect. Okay, bet. I take it and relish the pointed irony. Yeezy playing directly after this declaration is inspiring the biggest Grinch smile across my face. Yes, let's burn down this whole damn place. East side, west side. We're gonna set this party off right. Tenacity is the strength we see, pouring from the streets to the polls, knowing there are mountains of work to behold. Climb, find collective redemption and liberation. Fuck the conservative reconciliation. Drag them through the coals they stole to sell you conditional freedom, laying waste to your lands with a gilded hand, aching for your ruin so they can profit, line their blood-soaked pockets because they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth. I'm telling you all, it all falls down. Melt the crowns and bullets from all sides. Pry open the cages and lose that centrist mind. See, we're not divisive. We're simply decisive on a future that doesn't tolerate violent machinations or go on vacation while a global infestation reigns. Damn, I feel like I'm insane. Solutions aplenty falling on covered ears of the lame. Are you for the people like you claim? Truth be told, I teared up seeing her on the stage. Hot damn, a Black and Indian woman really pulled up, a dream no longer deferred, no longer absurd. Let's hope she makes sure we're heard. We're fighting empire, baby. Picking up the pieces the state shattered over our heads. We keep us safe, showered, housed, and fed. Don't throw us away behind iron doors. It all falls down. It will all fall down so we can build better and beyond the throngs of cult of political personalities, please. Because when it all falls down, I know who will be around. Power to the people, always. Land back, reparations tenfold, protections for all. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Stay ready, babies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christina.
Thanks, Christina. Let's get some ones for Christina in the chat. And just a reminder to follow Christina at La Vida Brujeria. And I think Lauren, yeah. Thank you, Lauren. Lauren's manning tech today. So just please respect her freaking vibe, okay? So how's everyone? Yeah, put some claps in the chat. Yes, a woman. Yes, you're correct.
She's womaning.
Yeah.
Women,
100.
Women be womaning, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah. What's I don't know. I don't really. The only thing that Julia and I have planned is that we have like something really big. People want bigs. I'll do you first.
Get my acne. Yeah.
How many pimples does Julia have? If you can count them in these few seconds and put them in the chat, you will be awarded with the crown. And then I'll do big.
Count Peter's beards.
And if you can count my beard, let us know in the chat if you can, because that's very impressive to be able to count a beard. This is the only thing that we have planned. 12 beard hairs. Poolboy00, you are wrong as hell. The one thing that we do have planned,
considerably more.
It's considerably more. The one thing that we do have planned, and this is really cool, really impactful, really amazing, really cool, really impactful, really driving, really focused, is we have a secret cam. Like, I'm going to tell you a secret about Julia.
Right now?
Yeah. Yeah, you see what we're talking about? You see what's happening? So like, I can do this, and I can do this, and also, if you guys notice, while we were doing this, I was actually ripping a piece of my fingernail off, which is right here, if you can see that. But this is our cam 2, where we tell secrets. I'm gonna tell a secret about Julia. Julia's a really difficult person.
Is it a secret if I can hear it?
Well, the chat will have to decide that. I think we should. Should we move on?
I know what my secret's gonna be about you.
Oh yeah. Also, wait. Can you guys see? Does anyone see what this says? We put a secret under here. That's actually a secret.
I think it might be too small.
It might be too small, but if you can we blow it up?
Can we make it?
Can we make it big?
Can we do a big?
Can we do a big on it? Can we just get out of here and just go to cam 2 for forever?
Maybe not, because it's the cam 2, and I don't know if like.
Maybe. Wait, hold on.
We're gonna get there.
No.
You know what?
All right. Fuck it.
I'll work on it during
We're gonna work on it.
Act. I think. Are we ready to move on to our next act?
I think we are. Julia, why don't you go ahead?
Can we get a 2 for our second act? Leighton Cassidy. Leighton Cassidy is a writer, translator, and comedian living in New York City. She's a grad student at Columbia, works for the Columbia Journal, and she is a producer of the critically acclaimed podcast Gay Future.
So,
can we please get a 2
in the chat? Now take us out. Take us out. Lauren, take us out.
Hello, everyone. I realized writing critically acclaimed about my own work was a really bad idea. That sounded really douchey. I did not write it. That's all I'll say. So it's been a big 48 hours. I've been feeling a lot. My constipation has gone away. Things have been different. My body tingles differently. And I did stand up for 4 years and I quit it because, God, my jaw is so uneven, and I apologize for that. And I don't know where that comes from. I tried to light myself in a way that would correct it. Would you please forgive me? So I did stand up for 4 years and then I quit because I would black out during it, not from drinking, but from anxiety. So this not having an audience thing, I think really could be the solution. So thanks to COVID. The world may gain a comedian. So, yeah, but it's been a big past 48 hours. Biden won. Thank you all for voting if you did. I was lucky enough to be a poll worker, which was great. I was on 109th, and it was a really uneventful day. So that was good. And really, really the biggest drama was between our two coordinators, Cece and Craig. Cece hated Craig, and Craig was a condescending cunt. So it made sense, but Cece would come up to me and would say, please don't listen to anything Craig says, and then I would get in trouble. But I think I trust Cece. I think that Craig doesn't respect women. It was just a lot happening on top of, you know, just all the honestly really dumb voting rules that New York has. A lot of different colored Ziploc bags, a lot of zip ties, things that really anyone could cut with a pair of child scissors. But also Kamala Harris. It's a pretty big deal. She has a lot of big, really important firsts. I would definitely say the most important first is that she's the first vice president I want to kiss on the mouth. Just kidding. I would like to kiss Mike Pence on the mouth just to confuse him. So, I cried a lot yesterday. I cried a lot. And I've, you know, since the pandemic, I've had a really weird relationship with crying. I used to be someone that cried every day, normally for good things. I'm just a very emotional, like bodily emotional person. But since the pandemic, I'll go like weeks without crying and it feels really bad. And then something just like really small will just take me over the edge. And most recently, I hadn't cried for like a week. And then I made the horrifying decision to watch Paddington, and then followed by Paddington 2. Paddington is about a bear, but really it's about immigrants. And it is the biggest, most blatant metaphor I've ever seen. And I am so here for it. Paddington is about a bear that is forced out of Peru. He is orphaned. He is between the ages of 2 and 35. It's hard to tell. He's voiced by like a young 20-something gay man. That doesn't give us any information. And he comes to London to learn that they're super racist against bears. It's terrible. And I was just crying from the get-go. And I was thinking about how in children's movies, they do this thing where they'll kill off one or both of the parents so that, you know, the main character is starting off at like a lower place where they can only rise and you super root for them, which is great. But I don't think kids have a concept of death as much when they're watching it. So as I was watching Paddington's honestly perfect uncle get crushed by a tree, all I could think about was what a long death that was. And he was abandoned out in the woods. That's not funny. This is supposed to be funny. It was terrible. Anyway, so, sorry, I do have notes here. So I watched Paddington and I had a lot of feelings about it. He doesn't like sleeping in beds, and that hit me really hard. And, you know, I feel like generally the media that we have been consuming during quarantine has been like top news, right? You go and you talk to someone and you're like, what have you been watching? Because you're like, please, dear God, give me a sense of newness. Every day is the same nightmare, and there's no end in sight. So my most recent thing that I'm watching a lot that I'm excited about is there's like a new season of The Bachelorette out. And I love The Bachelorette. I love watching the straight parade. I love watching a world that I have nothing to do with and just really like giving my opinion where it doesn't belong, you know? So this most recent season of The Bachelorette, they were about to film and then COVID happened and they all quarantined at a La Quinta for some reason. So I feel like they could have gotten better, but they've, you know, ever since the season's really been pushing the La Quinta thing, which I'm going to be honest, takes away a lot of the magic, takes a lot of the romance. So the Bachelorette this season, she's so brave. She's 39. She's the oldest Bachelorette ever. Still white and blonde and seems considerably wealthy, but 39, so brave. And you know, I go in really wanting to like her. I actually really like most of the Bachelorettes a lot. And I think that that is such an amazing thing where you can have a reality TV show and then there's like someone you really like on it. And it's kind of like they like stumbled into the wrong room and then they're trapped there and they don't know how to get out. And they're just like not a psychopath and they're the only one in the room. And so Claire, she goes on to the Bachelorette and 3 weeks later, she's engaged to a Halloween costume model named Dale, who seems like a psychopath. And that's the sort of content that I've been needing right now. Because I love knowing that there are some people that are still like out of touch and I'm jealous of them. So I one of the reasons I love The Bachelor is because I feel like I would really, really enjoy working on it in a non-ironic way. I worked in TV for many years, and I always wanted to work in reality for like a sec and then like never do it again. But I have a really good pitch for a new branch of the Bachelor universe, which is a show where couples are looking for a third. That's the end of the joke. I think it's really funny. So yeah, before I leave you all, yeah, it's really hard to do stand-up right now, I think, but I don't want to discredit myself because I literally have no clue how you all have been reacting. I hope that you have noticed my gnomes kissing. This is a show where we tip, and so I feel like it would be unfair to not show you some skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna show you a tattoo I got of my own therapist's name. So I hope that encourages you all to tip kindly. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. But again, thank you all for voting. And, you know, whenever you're ready, you can throw me back in that waiting room. I know you asked me for a real ending, and I feel like me showing you my tattoo of my therapist's name is the best way to go.
We've been muted the whole time! We've been muted the whole time!
That's such a freaking amateur.
Oh, with amateur move. We have to, can we go to the emergency slide that we have prepped for situations like these? Yeah, can we go to the emergency slide? We have to, because we messed up just so bad. Yeah, it was so bad. That was so bad. That's so bad. We're going to come back in a second. We're back now. Can we come back? Okay, yeah. All right. Well, we really...
Lauren gave us that. Lauren said we have an emergency slide in case like something goes wrong and you have to leave, and that was one of those moments.
That was one of those moments. Can you? We need to get at least 4 ones in the chat, or I'm gonna start playing on my out of tune ukulele a song about like how like really tough it is for me to like date. So we need 4.
Can I tell a secret? Can I tell a secret?
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
cam?
Can we get the secret cam out?
Can we get the secret cam up, please? Yeah. Peter's difficult.
Yeah, I'm extremely. Yeah, it's true. Cool. But yeah, I guess there were enough ones to sort of stop me from doing something that would be truly, truly, truly horrible. But you know, Theresa, you say that, but you don't know what would happen to your entire psyche if it occurred.
If you play the ukulele?
If I play the ukulele, but it's a detuned ukulele, and I'm only doing songs about like how crazy it is to like date. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like how crazy it is.
I mean, but you're making a big show of this now, but you've played it in front of me without getting my consent first, right? Many times. So I feel like this is just kind of a show.
Okay. Ryan wants a weird little, and then I think we'll move into the next act.
I'm gonna get as far away as I can.
Right. Or no, wait, you know what would be a good little is if we do like just a tiny piece of our faces. You know what I mean?
How's that? Oh yeah, that's good. That's
good. Yeah. So
I'm gonna do a little bit of my finger.
Yeah. Oh wait, just little 2 fingers. Wait, fuck.
Okay, our next act.
Our next act is going to be another video. It's The Whistle Man by Ryan William Downey. Ryan William Downey is an actor, playwright, and musician who serves as the Associate Artistic Director of the Brick Theater and co-director of Title Point. Recent writing credits include Periscope, featuring Richard Foreman and Mary Herron, and the 2019 New York Times Critics Pick. Oh, why did you click out of it, even though I know the name of it? Sleeping Car Porters. Follow Ryan at Ryan William Downey. I'm going to say that again because you messed it up. It's the 2019 New York Times Critics Pick, Sleeping Car Porters. Follow Ryan at Ryan William Downey. This is very exciting. We're very excited to get us out of here.
I'm going to tell you the story of the Whistle Man. In the town that I was born, there was a graveyard that no one could enter, blocked off at every entrance since the pestilence of 23. And so it stayed, but for the groundskeeping man who walked and kept the estate. He would be dressed all in simple browns, with a hood that hung low on his face. I never saw it myself, but those who did said it was covered in pockmarks, little valleys carved out like the surface of the moon. They said, I was told, I had heard. He built up an immunity to what took half the town. His mother and his brother, 2 sisters, were all taken by the disease. His father had died in the war, and so he remained, found hiding by the paramedics who came to the home. Not a touch on him, save for the pockmarks. And so he served a purpose. Was a time he was the only one they trusted with the bodies. And boy, were there bodies. And boy, did they need him. Eventually, the disease was eradicated, but he remained. And so the town agreed to let him stay. A house was built on the far west end of the cemetery. Each month, food and supplies were left outside the gate, and no one could enter, and he could never leave. It was for the best. But that is not to say that there were not curious people. There were. We could not enter the cemetery under any circumstances. That was the rule. However, a walk to school from any direction necessitated walking past the western gates. And often, when we did, we could hear him whistling a maddening little song. Sometimes I heard his whistles, but look as I might, I could not see him. There were stories, of course, of children going inside and never returning. of his long, acrid claws tearing their flesh, of how he consumed them whole, and how his whistle was a trick. But any time I saw him, he dragged his leg, clomped his cane, drag, clomp, drag, clomp, drag, clomp. But mysteries are mysteries, and no one knew where the children had gone. Along the western gate, there became a kind of memorial, a patchwork of missing children's posters, which also served as a warning. One time, I can recall my mother crying, looking out from the widow's walk. And when I asked her what was the matter, she said to me, "Just promise me, my dear, that no matter what, you'll never whistle." And then she hissed. And I never did. As long as my mother lived, they found her dead of fright on that same widow's walk some 6 weeks later. One day, I made a little surprise for the whistleman, mashing into some spinach and rice, a healthy dose of hemlock. I left it outside the southern gates. For 2 days it remained, but on the third, it was gone. And I never saw the whistleman again. But sometimes, late at night, to this day, I still hear his whistle, howling with the wind, and I clench my teeth like a steel trap. I'm still waiting for the whistle man to come for me.
That was the
Ryan William Downey,
the Whistleman
the Whistleman.
at Ryan William Downey.
If you would like to tip Ryan or any of our other performers, paypal.me/outofcaution. That's paypal.me/outofcaution.
Right.
At the end of that video, Peter farted, and it sort of smelled kind of sulfury.
Right.
So it was kind of like, oh, I'm sort of like in hell. It's like a Luciferian, it just added to like the spooky vibe, I guess.
Yeah, I did fart. It was what I did. I don't feel bad about it.
I guess I should have told that to the secret cam.
Yeah, you should have told that to the secret cam. Yes, Drew Vanderberg.
I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter farted, and it was way smellier than I described earlier.
There you go. Yeah, put up Drew Vanderberg's comment. Ew, 100%. Can we put up one of Ryan's? Can we put up Ryan's comment? I'll be visiting one lucky person in the chat. losing my voice.
You want me to take over?
No. Yeah, I wonder who it will be. If you want to be the lucky person that Ryan visits outside their window, just whisper out of caution your social security number, your phone number, your address, and one of your credit card numbers. And we'll have someone there.
And your zip code.
And your zip code. Yeah, because we don't want to get it wrong. Just send those all in. Just whisper all that information. And oh yeah. It's me. K McGee says I'm on the second floor. Bring a ladder. So yes.
Aww.
But DM us all that information and we'll move forward. Is there anything else that we really want to do in our hosting vibe?
I don't know.
We want to show everyone the cloud.
There she is.
Do you want to show everyone the penguin?
Yeah, we could show everyone the penguin. Can we ask the chat to name the cloud?
What's the cloud's name?
And then this is the penguin.
What is the cloud's name, chat? Rupert. Rupert the cloud. Spider?
I like Rupert the cloud. I also like Spider the cloud. Jigglypuff the cloud.
Let's get some more.
Okay, we're saying penguin needs to be called Rupert. I really like Spider the cloud.
Yeah, Spider the cloud's really nice.
Rupert and Spider. Rupert and Spider. I really like that. Do you like that?
I'm not crazy about Rupert, but I do love Spider the cloud.
Why are you not crazy about Rupert?
I don't know. I feel like my feeling about this relationship between the cloud and the penguin is that Spider, this is like the cloud's administrative assistant. It's like Spider's, it's her intern. And so I feel like the penguin really shouldn't have a name.
Right, because interns don't get names.
Yeah, interns don't get names.
Does she have a really stressful job?
Yeah, she's a marketing executive.
Spider, the marketing executive.
Cloud, yeah.
Cloud.
Spider McCloud. That's very, very cool. Pool
Yeah,
Boy 00.
Spider McCloud, MD.
Terry? Question mark, question mark. Right. No, exactly, John BBB. The penguin is just boy. So Spider, she's the marketing executive, and then she just goes, boy.
Yeah, she's a deep, raspy voice.
Deep, raspy voice. I think on that note, let's just call up Spider, because I feel like, I don't know, I get it's just no.
He's not even being paid.
Yeah, he's not even being paid.
Free.
But up next, we have something very special for you.
We've got our friend Nico in conversation with ELLPETHA and Camilo, and they're talking about their Dia de los Muertos event that they held on October 30th recently. And they're also going to be talking about doing live COVID-safe performances in general in New York and beyond, and it should be interesting.
And we're excited to be taken out of the stream.
Okay, it should be interesting. We are here. Okay. I am very happy to be here with Camilo Quiroz Vázquez and ELLPETHA Cívicos. The pressure is on. It should be interesting. And we're just going to chat a little bit about the Dia de los Muertos event that you two curated and produced and invited people to come to last week. Seems like a million years ago.
I know.
Oh,
spooky.
So I know Camilo and ELLPETHA from a long time ago. So we've known each other for 10 years, and so we know each other. But why don't you two tell us a little bit about yourselves and your company, One Whale's Tale?
That is our company. We're considering a name change, but we don't have to go into that right now.
Okay.
But it's something that we've been working on together for almost a little bit longer than we've known you, 12 years that we've worked together, and we've been making work collaboratively. And we do theater and film and visual art. And we've recently have been producing live COVID-safe events in New York. We've had the opportunity to do 2 in the last couple of months. Most recently, we did the Dia de los Muertos event that you came to last week. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
And Alpita says, yeah. I think the intro was too much pressure. But
It was.
No.
I mean, I guess most of our work, I mean, it focuses a lot on magic and embracing cultural traditions within both of our own cultures, because we believe that, you know, the arts they serve a purpose beyond entertainment. There's a preservation of a lot of different things. So we both like to preserve our cultures by sharing them, or just
and tell us a little bit about that, because I know about that. But Alpita, you are from Cyprus.
Yeah.
Your lineage?
I'm from Cyprus. I'm from a very small village called Inya. La Serena is also
her.
me.
Yeah, her lineage.
So my family, they are subsistent farmers. My father came to America, and so I got to have a choice in what I did with my life. And I'm not a subsistent farmer, although I constantly wonder
if maybe you should be.
Yeah.
It's always a good option.
So anyway, it's just a very antiquated place, and there's this like marathon race away from it because so many people are so eager to be a part of modern culture and society. So a lot of traditions are disappearing really fast. So for me, it's always been something really important to try to document those things and share them in my art, or they're inspiration for a lot of my art, because we're going to turn around and they'll just all be gone before we can even remember what they were.
Yeah. And I think a lot of our work also is like finding the places where our cultures kind of like meet, and where we have so many similarities in traditions and in family dynamics and things like that.
Yeah. And that's very beautiful to see, because it is not only your different cultures, but also your own personal relationship to these cultures that is very unique and very personal. And I think that is part of what I experienced that night going to this event, which I just love to think about a form of theater that is like that. It really felt to me kind of like a plaza like theater, where there's just like a lot of events happening, and each event has its own weight and kind of allows for people to relate to things from different parts of themselves. And there was, for a lot of you weren't there, maybe it was a full moon. It was there were little boats on the Gowanus Canal. It was nighttime, and there were like people with masks taking people on the boats on the canal. So it really felt, you could really feel all the energy from the water of the Gowanus Canal. That felt almost like some kind of like the river Styx or something. And then like there were food vendors, and there were characters dressed in with masks and crazy costumes. And then there was an altar that was very beautiful with ofrendas. I put an ofrenda for Mary Overley there, Camilo's grandmother's there was a picture of Camilo's grandmother there with a Coca-Cola right next to it. There were vendors, there was mezcal, and then there was this amazing dance. There were people singing. Oh, I have the singer. There were people singing. It was so rich, and it just, it really just, number one, it felt almost like traveling, which right now is so impossible. And really, like, that traveling is, and also like meeting people. So there was just like this sense of community and honoring the dead, and cultures kind of like encountering that. I just thought it was very, very special. And like many things that are like I don't know. My question for you is how, like, because there's so much caution tape around engaging with culture and like traditions, and how much is it appropriating or stuff. What is your relationship to that, and like what did you find that like made it, or what are your conversations about that?
Totally. I mean, I think there are a lot of conversations about that. Even for myself, doing cultural events around my own culture. I was talking to my mom, and we were talking about Dia de los Muertos, and she was saying that when she was a little girl, our family didn't do anything for it because we weren't from a part of Mexico where it was traditionally practiced. But throughout the 60s and 70s, Mexican-American artists in California and in the Southwest really gave it a resurgence for Northern Mexicans. And then it kind of spread around Mexico as a whole. So it's kind of hard to think that maybe you're even kind of sometimes appropriating parts of your own culture, because we think of like, oh, you're Mexican, but Mexico is a giant country with so many states, just like the United States. There are 32 states in Mexico. Every state has its own culture, its own music, its own traditions. So for me, when I'm not super familiar with an element of the culture, I find collaborators who are, and who can inform the work. And when both of us do this, we're like, you know what, you know this, you tell us how to craft this so that it is genuine, and it's honest to the tradition. But on the other hand, being Mexican American, I am also somewhat comfortable changing some of the traditions, which I think is important. And it's important to modernize a lot of these things and to make them relevant. And I think just like it's beautiful to hold on to something from the past, it's also beautiful to kind of let go of things that maybe aren't serving us and can be updated in a way to either include more people or, just be more open to how we're living at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say two things in response to that. One, the last thing that he was just saying really connects to the last project we did in August called Quince, which is about a queer Mexican-American girl on the eve of her quinceañera. And, both of us are artists, and we're weird, and we grew up in ethnic households where, for me at least, like, I missed a lot of American culture and was super immersed in Greek culture. And there are a lot of things where, I love my culture, but also there are so many things that I'm like not invited to be a part of, or like, if I do it slightly differently, it's like I'm shunned, and like both of us like can't stand that. It's happened to both of us as first generation Americans, where it's just like, if you start doing that to people, they are going to completely lose touch of these traditions. And so we have to be able to say, we didn't have like a queer quinceañera and say, throw out everything culturally relevant, but it's like, there's no reason why a girl can't want to have a quinceañera and also want to have a girlfriend. And I think what happens a lot with things like that is like, it's like, I'm not Mexican, fuck Mexico, like, fuck the Catholic Church, you know, they won't accept me. So I'm going to completely disassociate, or with whatever culture it is, I'm going to disassociate with that culture because I don't fit into it. And that's just ridiculous. We don't want to create spaces like that. We actually want to do the opposite. The other thing I'll say is we constantly talk about appropriation because it's something that comes up a lot, specifically, you know, with white people. A lot of them are very, very cautious about appropriating things. A lot of them want to police what other people do to make sure they're not appropriating. I think that it's a truly individual thing, and it's with what energy and appreciation that you bring to cultural traditions. We're both from different places, but you know, something with my own culture is like, it's been completely stolen from us by the British. So like, you never see someone say like about doing an ancient Greek play, like, oh, should we have a Greek person here? They're like, no one even thinks of that. You know, it's like no longer belongs to us. It belongs to white people. And so, you know, a lot of, you know, it's like you see these Halloween costumes, people get mad about them, but then it's like if someone's in a toga, no one gets mad. It's like these things are all, you know, it's like these things are all just really relevant to the participant and the respect that you bring to it. So
yeah, and I think it's also like understanding that we live in such a globalized world that like this idea of like cultural purity, it doesn't really exist. I mean, there, like, yeah.
I think what I really appreciated, and like you two are talking about it too, is not only your own relationship to it, but also making space for collaborators to also bring their relationship to that culture, which also has another other complexities.
Yeah.
You know, there is no like purity, and I think that was very beautiful to see the people dancing the traditional dance with the leopard and like the
jaguar, and they're called Tequanes.
Yeah, that's like a really, like, that dance is so intense for anyone who's never seen it. It's this dance that replicates and pays homage to the jaguar hunt that happens in a part of central Mexico that's happened for many, many years and many generations. And it's kind of this communal way of hunting jaguars. So they do a dance where the jaguar is actually kind of in control, if you notice in the dance, you know, which is what happens in real life.
And the jaguar in a lot of different cultures is an actual, what is the word for when something it can hurt you? A predator. They're actual predators, but then very often, in places other than New York, but also then there's always this element of magic. Like the jaguar came to the village because you stole or something. And
then there was like the witch. There's also a witch character in the dance, and then sometimes they have a devil character, and it's just kind of, even that dance though is exactly. Even that dance, though, is like a mix of indigenous and Christian, Catholic.
And it's traditionally done by men and adults.
Yeah.
And what we liked about
this group is that they're children, and they're not just men. And now they're like all women dance troops, but that only happens, here in New York. It's very rare to see that in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I want to touch on is this magic that was really present there. And, it's a combination of the masks and the power of the moon that night and the altar, and like really just creating space. I mean, like so much of what I think about that event was like so much space created for also for us to communicate with death death that has been like so around us, especially this year. And I really appreciated that. It is something that, like, in our in this culture in New York, sometimes we just don't look at the dead, or we don't know what to do with the concept of death. And just that kind of like magical space just allows, I don't know, like the quotidian to go to the side, and
The
to enter
veil
into
was very thin.
Yeah.
It was,
yeah.
I mean, one, not long before this event, I found out that Dia de los Muertos was Mexican and wasn't celebrated in all of South America, which is something I didn't know. And then as soon as you got there and you were like, I've never done this, and I was like, wow, Camilo is really telling the truth about that. Like, I thought maybe there were like, it had commercialized and kind of spread in different parts of South America as kind of a novelty thing, but I didn't realize that it really, I'll say that, like, 2019 was like a year of death for me before COVID. And I was, I was taking care of my grandfather who was dying of leukemia. And then at the end of 2019, he died in Cyprus. And then I came back to America, and I was like, ready to like live my life again after like being there for 6 months. And then COVID happened, and there was a lot more death. And, I'm still like mourning the loss of my grandfather, but also having to have made space for the fact that, like, we were sitting in our apartment in April, and I was like, Camilo and I were like, we can feel the death around us. Like, so many people were dying every day. So it's, we know that in ancient Greece, they had some stuff with death, and it's really hard to uncover a lot of that because it was really lost to Christianity. But it seems like there's a huge, just like you said, the river Styx, and it's like there were these cults where people would go to like deal with death, but we just don't know a lot about it. But one thing we do have is, the Day of the Dead, where like they really do explore it, but they explore it in this way that we all always say we want to celebrate. To experience death with celebration, with like, I always say to people, like, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Like, the dead are with us. They're just in a different form. And like getting to do that and physicalize that with the ofrenda was like, for me, I couldn't really believe the magic we created. I like couldn't approach it without completely being overwhelmed with energy and like being moved to tears, and making space for so many people. Like, it's like we had these little cards where people could write something down, and after everyone left, and we keep visiting the ofrenda. We finally broke it down today, and I'd see these little notes, like sometimes 3 words, sometimes a paragraph of like these little tiny things that people have kept in their.
I found one. I found
what is it? Read it.
While we were cleaning up, it just has a name. It says Hyacinth Car.
And there's a lotus flower. Yeah. And, it's like we carry these things. They're like little knots in our bodies that we like never get the chance to fully, like exercise or just like break down. And it gave everyone like permission to just be able to explore that, but also like not in a scary church where your whole family is like hysterically crying and there's a dead person in front of you, like embalmed. Instead, there was like color and music and a lot of positive space, which was like something I always have dreamed of having around
it. Which is really like what ended up like really just like tying everything together was just really feeling community, like people engaging, like, because usually like in spaces like the space dictates so much the attention of people, but here you had go look at the moon, or like eat a taco, or like have mezcal, or like watch the dance, or like go and like be with the dead. Like you're addressing so much of the human experience, and sharing with a community in like that diversity of human experience is so powerful. And I really am so thankful for that experience. And this leads me to my closing question, which is, you have been doing events and theater during COVID in public. And I know that it's a lot about, it's been triggered a lot by that need of community and that magical need of like that magnetic thing that happens between human beings when bodies are close by. What has this taught you about, or how has your idea of being an artist, how has it changed during COVID and like doing these performances?
Well, I don't know that it's like changed so much as like certain things have really been cemented. Like we've been very lucky to work in the spaces that we've been able to work in. You know, both the show Quince, which was in the People's Garden, a community garden, and the Dia de los Muertos event, which was at the Gowanus Dredger's Boathouse. Both are two communities that have just like incredible members that really care about the space. Like, you know, without us being there, you know, they are there all the time.
You know, I think also the idea of a member of a club in New York, like we hear that far too often about some sort of exclusive, like, you know, like I'm thinking of like the women's club or like the Soho, whatever. It's like we hear about these clubs that people are a member of, these places that people are members of. It's like for life, like it's for their, I don't mean for the rest of their life. I mean, it is for the sake of life. Like they
For
have,
the livelihood.
and it's, you know, at the community garden, the People's Garden, they're very, very into food justice and also just creating an ecosystem. There's a homeless shelter across the street and they have like a ton of food growing. And anyone can walk in at any time and pick any of the food. And it's not just like an apple tree. It's like squashes and cabbages and corn and like tomatoes. And then there's chickens that lay eggs and they do compost. And, you know, the Gowanus Dredgers have been a part of the rehabilitation of the Gowanus dialogue for the past 21 years. They're like, if you ever are like, oh, I heard they're going to clean it up. It's like them that they are advocating for it. They were the first group to go on it, and they're like, they do it all to build awareness of the fact that it doesn't need to be like a pool of literal human feces, but like a beautiful thing we should all be able to, like water in the city, like we should be able to canoe on it, we should be able to go fishing, we should have like restaurants with spaces on it. We should have beautiful bridges that we sit on and look at the tide. We should be able to see the tide. We should be able to watch it rise and fall. And, you know, throughout all of COVID, you know, there's been this desire from a lot of people to give back to different groups. And it's like these large organizations that people go to. And like, for me and for Camilo also, we've always kind of felt that the best way to give back to people is like be really specific and start locally and like find something that means a lot to you, something that really means a lot to you, and just give them a little bit. And I don't mean money, I mean time. I mean, do a show in their, I mean, doing the show in the garden brought them like all this like publicity, all these people that became interested in the garden, brought them more money, you know, and that's like, I can't give as much money as I'd like to give to everyone in the world that I want to give it to. But like the fact that I can give attention to these things by doing art, like is,
and like, you know, I've been thinking a lot this year about Mary's work, Mary Overly's work, and like this year has just like really cemented the need to be aware of how you move through space. You know, you have to be so aware, because you can make someone really sick without wanting to. You can make yourself really sick without wanting to. If you're just moving your body through a space with no awareness, you can, you know, contribute to someone's oppression unknowingly or unwillingly if you're not aware of yourself and how you're moving through the world and how that movement is affecting everything around you. And that's
even with the environment too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like we don't mean to destroy the earth with every single thing we do, but like it just takes a tiny shift, and you can make a big difference. But I guess more practically speaking, we work really hard to work with like community groups. So with the Day of the Dead event, we had the Tequanas Dance Group, which is local to Sunset Park. We worked with Make the Road, which is an immigrant rights group who referred us to the Street Vendor Project, which is how we got the incredible tamale lady and the taco truck, which those are also just people from the community that were like, we were like, we're gonna have a crowd of people. They were like, great, we need some extra money. And we were like, great. And so that's how they got there. And then, you know, the Gowanus Dredgers, and then there were just, you know, the performers that were in the show.
And I think that's, I mean, that sense of having that it's not just, at least in this event, of like you two having a vision that is kind of like pushing itself onto everyone, but just generating space for people to bring what they have, like really like bring an offering of tamales, or, you know, like, and it's also like a business, but like the, you know, for them, but they, you know, like to bring stuff, you know, and then it becomes a community effort, and calling that art, I think, is very revolutionary.
I think
it's very cool.
I'll say one thing that I think would help contextualize all of this is something I got the chance to study at NYU that I minored in was dialogical art. And it was in this weird master's program that I ended up in accidentally. And I didn't know what dialogical art was for fully half the semester, when all the like master's students kept talking about these really academic things. I was like 19. I had no idea what they were talking about. And then one day I was like, dialogical art. It is the dialogue that you create that is the art. And I think that, you know, that it's hugely influenced like I mean, it's cool to hear you basically describe that over and over without me telling you that that was like a huge intention of creating a dialogue between people, between cultures, between the living and the dead, creating a space. And it's not the dialogue I have with everyone. It's the dialogue that's created from the art, which I think is just innately connected to community.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Camilo and ELLPETHA, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I'll see you in the next show. When is the next show? What's the next thing you have?
We have no plan yet, but we are going to do Quince in LA.
And we are working on a very, we have something.
We do.
We're working on a very special piece for the Exponential Festival.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Quince LA, hopefully in March. And then we're hoping, we're applying for a cool residency. We don't know if we'll get it or not, but that also is like going to be an exploration of death, but we're going to try to dig into some of the ancient Greek stuff and work with some scholars on that. And then hopefully Quince again in New York.
But
bigger and bigger. That any opportunity we get to create a space and a dialogue, we're fully committed to doing it. And I hope that we get that opportunity soon. And if this is winter, then it's going to happen every other weekend.
Okay. Well, thank you for the dialogue. ELLPETHA, Camilo.
Yeah,
we
love you so much.
Are we back? Are we back?
Looks like we're back.
All right. Well, thank you to Nicolás, ELLPETHA, and Camilo for that incredibly. You know, we got some shade at the beginning of that for saying it was interesting, but it was extremely interesting. I really appreciate it.
It was interesting. I was right.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry if I put any pressure on
we
you.
put any pressure on you because it actually exceeded. It was not just interesting. It was engaging, if that makes sense.
So maybe a little bit of pressure, not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean.
Also, if you choose not to forgive us for saying we hope it's interesting, we understand, and we will do whatever it takes to win you back.
I'm gonna double down on that. If we ever get to host this again, I'm gonna be like, oh, I hope this one is good. I hope this is interesting.
But anyway, so yeah, who's left? We got according to the Twitch, we got 17 people left in the chat. So I need to see 17 17s in the chat. So put a 17 in chat if you're in chat.
I don't know if we're gonna get that. Because
we're probably not gonna get that, but I demand to see 17 17.
Right, yeah. It's 17 magazine.
17 magazine, yeah, 17.
17.
All right. We're waiting on it. I'll regale you with like a hilarious anecdote from my life that touches on kind of, you know, what's unique about the moment and also unique about me. It also has sort of like a kind of incredible dynamism and humor that's both kind of earthy but also witty. And I'll get to that anecdote in just a second, as soon as we see all the 17s. And by the way, the anecdote is also like actually kind of formally insane. It's like very, very cool and innovative.
Can I get a secret cam? Can I get a secret cam?
Can we get secret cam?
Can I get a secret cam, please?
Mm-hmm.
Peter doesn't have an anecdote. He doesn't have one.
But take the secret cam out. You know, well, everyone, that was out of an abundance of caution, an avant-garde microfestival of online live work, and we were really happy to host it with you tonight. On a serious note, I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope everyone's taking in the news as best they can. I hope everyone's looking to the future. And what should I say? A joke? I don't know. I don't really have a joke.
Knock knock.
Who's there? Just take us out. Take us out.